more than a century, Johnson's Bookstore was a mainstay and just a very special part of the downtown Springfield business district. Tonight, we begin our Gone But Not Forgotten series with a look back at Johnson's. I sat down with the Bookstore family members, Charlie Johnson and Martha Johnson, who told me people still tell them all the time about their own memories of the store.
It's just amazing, the outpouring of stories that we get. Just the other day, I had a chap who said he remembered the hobby shop, and he kept going in and seeing what the latest model plane was that had been made and was hung up over the counter. Just the detail of the people's memories is wonderful.
And when I now live in Providence Place, and when I arrived there in 2012, several years ago, I did not realize that they put up on the bulletin board, this is Martha Johnson, and she's the granddaughter of the founder of Johnson's Bookstore. I had not seen that, but people started coming up to me and saying, "Oh, you're a Johnson. Oh, I remember going to Santa Claus. I remember my gold coin. I remember we used to buy our special gifts there," and story after story after story. And even one person took me into her room and showed me the desk set she had bought at Johnson's Bookstore and still
Many
had.
years before, obviously.
Yes. And I had not lived in the area for many years and wasn't a part of the store particularly. My father worked there his life. But to have finally got a visceral sense of what the legacy in the area was for a woman who basically left at 15 and came back at 70 was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Charlie Johnson, we just heard Martha mention the Santa coins. Right. I know you brought a couple in with you. Tell me about those. People tell me they were a big thing in the 40s, 50s, and I guess into the 60s. Yeah. Santa Claus was at the store at Christmas time.
Yeah, it got to the point in the mid-70s, early 80s, where people were asking for him so early that we ended up starting him on November 1st. And he had his specials place down in the toy annex. And we had these gold coins, Santa's lucky coin, produced. We made a point of not having a date on them because we wanted to be able to use any carryover the following year. It would have made a huge difference as a collectible, but we didn't care about that. At his peak, he would give out, starting November 1st through Christmas, 25,000 of these coins. Just huge. Teachers would bring an entire class in, and we had wording for the Santa Claus for when there was a rush. He was to promise to bring them something and for them to write him a letter of what they wanted. If it was quiet, he would take time with them, put them up on his knee, and just spend time with them. The interesting thing is that we hear stories from Santa Clauses that had been there, and one of them was a retired scoutmaster. Nice guy, just a real peach. And like we heard the story that he said that the previous Christmas he had a bunch of kids come through, and then this Christmas one of them came up to him and he was sitting in a chair, the Santa Claus was, and the youngster kicked him as hard as he could in his shin. And Santa said, "Well, why did you do that?" He said, "You promised me a train and you didn't bring it." Well, our Santa never promised anything without getting the high sign from the parents. So he was taking the rap for another Santa Claus.
But that was the thing about Johnson's to me, and I came to this area as an adult, and I was just telling you both before, when I came here, someone that I got to know said to me, "There's two places you're going to want to see. One is this big new mall they built in Ingleside next to the highway. It's enormous, biggest mall in New England. You got to see it. And the other is Johnson's Bookstore, downtown Springfield." Well, I fell in love with the bookstore. I absolutely did. And it was so much more than it was the people. If you were there a couple of minutes, someone almost always from the staff, if they could, approached you. "Can we help you? Are you looking for something special? We can special order." There was a way of doing things, it seemed to me, at Johnson's.
Yeah, it was, we ran it as a family operation. And if a customer asked us for something that we didn't have, we would suggest where they could find it, and might even end up phoning that store to see if they had it. so that it was customers. Dad said, you take good care of the customers and they'll take good care of you. And it's basic. It works.
Well, one of the things, though, was the longevity of the staff in
Yes.
those days.
Yes.
I remember hearing from somebody that they used to call up Mrs. Hannafin,
Yes.
who worked in the greeting card or stationery department, pick out a card for my wife,
Yeah.
and I'll be over at lunch. You know, the absolute trust
Yeah.
that people had.
She was one of 3 sisters that worked in the store. 2 of them were in the office, and they could not understand how anybody could work on the floor the way their sister was. So it was just kind of a fun combination. We had a number of family units in the store, and including our own unit of the family. At one time there was Arthur, my uncle, my father Roger, a cousin Richard,
My father.
and myself. So it was great because we spread the load and were able to keep track of things. One of the things we made a point of was customer service. If you had a rush in a department, they were told, take your phone and drop it off the hook. The switchboard operator will alert us that there's a rush in that section, and they will call us, and 1 or 2 or 3 of us will go down and pitch in. So it was, we were front line at many times to keep things going right and keep the customers from having to wait.
The thing that I recall, go ahead.
No, I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say, as a child, obviously, I have different memories. Back in the days when stores were closed on Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, Dad always had to come down and work on Sunday, getting ready for Christmas and everything, and he would park us in the toy store. You know, can you imagine
Yeah.
6 kids being parked in that whole basement? And
yeah.
it was wonderful.
Heaven.
Yeah, and
That's one of the things I remember too, because every time you turned around from one display to another, there was something different and something new. There were collectibles.
Yeah.
There were, I remember we used to find for my mom, who loved the Beatrix Potter
yeah.
collectibles.
Yeah.
They were there.
Yeah.
There was things you just didn't find anywhere else. And if you stopped and looked, somebody usually came over and explained to you what it was and how it worked and where it came. There was such an attention to detail and to the customer.
Absolutely, yeah, that was prime. The bookshop, for instance, got so that they would know their customers by name, and they would know their taste, and somebody would come in and they'd say, oh yes, I just read this book, I think you'd enjoy it. And so it was that personal touch that meant so much and was such an important part of our success.
Well, Martha Johnson, Charlie Johnson, thank you for your family and Johnson's Bookstore and all the memories. Thanks for coming in and sharing some with us this afternoon.
My pleasure.